You know in the cartoons when something smells so amazing that the flavors sort of waft up and over and through the woods under someone's nose and they levitate because it smells so good and they magic carpet back to the food source? I believe this recipe has that power. And it's all thanks to an incredible course of spices and aromatics. Let's get started. 'Tis the season for one of my favorite winter squashes, the delicata. It's so wonderful, one, because the flavor is so nutty, it's a little bit sweet, but it's really easy to work with. Unlike a giant butternut squash or a kabocha squash, you can eat the skin on this one as well, so it makes it even easier. And as far as prepping it, I would just go ahead and cut the top and bottom off. What I did is I took the spoon and scooped it out the middle seeds, and then just simply put it seed side down, and then cut it into 1/3 to 1/2 inch slices. Right? And then when you're done, they go in a bowl with diced carrots and also very thinly sliced onions. When I'm done with these, believe it or not, it's already time to get cooking. I have my heavy Dutch oven, 5.5 quart oven over medium-high heat. And I also have 4 bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs, about 2 pounds that I've seasoned with salt. Once this is hot, which is okay, it's pretty hot, I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of a neutral oil. I have grapeseed oil, you can do canola oil if you want, sunflower oil. And I'm gonna swirl it around. It may start to smoke a little bit. That is a good time to probably turn on your hood to get the smoke out or open, say, a window. I'm gonna put the chicken skin side down for about 5 minutes until it renders off a lot of fat, but it also gets that skin nice and crispy, okay? And then I'll show you this really quick secret for a splatter guard using the actual top. And I'll take the lid, not put it on all the way, just kind of pull it off just a smidge so that it can evaporate all that liquid, but still get nice and crispy and keep all this area nice and clean. It looks really great. The chicken is rendering off a lot of fat. We're gonna use that fat because that fat has flavor. It's almost ready. So the next thing I'm gonna do is talk about some of the spices that I have that I'm gonna add to this fat. Once the chicken's done, I'm gonna remove it, put it on a plate, skin side up so it stays nice and crispy, and I'm gonna add black pepper, some coriander seed, cumin seed, some cayenne pepper with a little heat, also turmeric and brown mustard seeds. But then immediately afterwards, in goes some finely chopped garlic and also some finely chopped ginger. Now this part happens pretty quickly. Some of the spices may pop a little bit, and you'll start to smell this intoxicating smell coming from it. And once you smell that, somewhere between 30 seconds and a minute, then it's time to move on to the next step, which is adding those vegetables. And really give the vegetables a good stir, because you want to get these spices off the bottom of the pot and really get all those vegetables in the bottom so they start to break down a little bit. All right, they look evenly coated. I'm gonna add just about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. That's gonna help break down those onions a little bit. I'm gonna stir this and cook it for about 5 minutes until the onions start to get nice and soft. Onions are nice and soft. They're starting to give up their liquid, which is a good sign. The chicken that we already seared, this beautiful skin, this goes on skin side up. Just nuzzle them in there. Along with any of the juice that came from the chicken. That is nothing but flavor. The oven is set 425 degrees. Make sure you turn off your heat, and this goes in the oven for exactly 30 minutes. With the chicken and the aromatics and spices and those heavenly vegetables just cooking away in the oven, it is time to move on to the secret thing that we add at the very end. We're not gonna cook these ingredients, we're gonna add it at the end for that extra punch of vibrancy and flavor. What flavor exactly? Well, we're gonna start with organic coconut cream. Not milk, but cream. This is a little 5.4 ounce container, okay? Pour that in. We're gonna move on to a little bit of salt, just a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. To balance that out, just a tiny little teaspoon. You need it, but it's cute, right? Of dark brown sugar, that goes in. And a full tablespoon of freshly squeezed lime juice. We're going tropical here, lime juice. And then we move on to this incredible ingredient called tamarind. Now, tamarind, it grows in these little pods, original from Africa, but it grows in subtropical regions all around the world. It lends this sort of Sour Patch Kid quality to it, where you get this like squirt in the back, but not intense, but you also finish with this sweet mildness that comes through, right? And it's just absolutely lovely. You may also see tamarind, instead of this concentrate, which is what this is, which is just the tamarind pulp with water, you may also see it in these blocks, which is just the pulp. And you find that you can actually mix that with a little bit of water, and that's what you get as far as this consistency. I'll go ahead and mix this together until the salt and the brown sugar have dissolved. And then, listen, once it's done in the oven, you move on to service. Pretty easy, right? 30 minutes are up. It smells and, let's be honest, looks delicious. Now, I checked the chicken with a digital thermometer, not touching the bone, and each one was somewhere between like 176 and 200, believe it or not. Now, with chicken thighs, the dark meat, it's true it has to be at least 165 to be safe, but to believe it or not, the texture of dark meat or chicken thighs is the best, somewhere around 190. Now, I removed the chicken thighs to keep that skin nice and crisp. That's a great sound. We're also going to add this beautiful sauce we made. All this flavor to keep it nice and bright. Not one drop wasted. And then gently fold in that sauce. All right. And the reason being, these vegetables are beautifully cooked, but you don't want to smush them. You want to make sure they still have that lovely integrity. That's it. We're ready to serve. How do we do this? Well, you can have this dish without rice, but I love rice, so I love it with rice. Made some basmati. Give yourself a nice, healthy scoop on top. Make sure you get all that liquid. And to be honest, a lot of that liquid actually came from the onions that we're braising, which gives a nice sweetness to this dish. A touch of color. I picked some cilantro and just put a damp paper towel over top to keep them nice and vibrant. I mean, table for one, right? This is absolutely, it just makes me smile. And then a nice crispy piece of chicken right on top. Let's dive in, shall we? The first thing I get is how creamy it is. You have the natural fat from the chicken that we rendered off in the beginning, along with that coconut cream. So it just fills the mouth with all this lovely flavor. And the flavor, of course, is all those wonderful spices we put in there. The cumin and coriander sort of grounds it, but then the tamarind, this sort of sweet and sour thing happens, and then the lime juice, that fresh lime juice comes and scoops it all together. And don't be fooled, there is this touch, like a thought of warmth in here as well, because of that cayenne and that black pepper. This dish makes me so happy. It's so vibrant and so colorful, and it puts a smile on my face. And when you make this dish, let me know if it puts a smile on your face too. Cheers.